Good morning and welcome to day 12 of 100 Days of Magic. It occurred to me last night, because last night, like probably most everybody, we went to go play cards uh, over at a buddy's house. We play EDH every Friday. There's probably about 5 or 6 of us who are pretty much mainstays, and then there's several more that kind of just float in whenever they have days off or whatever. But I have not covered Kingdoms. Now, Kingdoms is a very interesting what is it? Alternate way to play. It's not arch enemy or plane chase it's a separate thing. It's not Wizards has not yet like made a supplemental product with it, which would be really neat if they did. What it is you start off, however many players you have is how many roles you have. Now, some of these words are uh, interchangeable. We use barbarian. I know some folks use bandit or warrior or things like that. But the whole list of rules is over on Reddit, I do believe. And it scales up. There's one with like 50 something different roles. But anyway, what you've got is you've got a king. Now, everybody randomly picks their roles before the game begins. You don't get to see what they are. I mean, before you pick them, obviously. There's a king. All of these roles have different win conditions, and the king is the only player, once everyone has chosen their roles, is the only player to reveal himself. So the king reveals, hey, guys, I'm the king. And the king starts off at, we use 60 life. I know it's 50 in some places, but we use 60 life. Now, there is always going to be the king's goal, how the king wins, is the only people left alive are the king and the knight. If that's the case, then they win. So let's talk about the knight. The knight, there's typically one knight, depending on, now if you get a really big game, obviously you're still only going to have one king, but the other numbers kind of grow. If you are the knight, then you, well, first off, you cannot reveal that you are the knight, even though there's a running joke in our play group that I'm your knight, bro. Because regardless of what we are, we're going to tell the king that we're his knight, even though we're probably lying. But because you don't want the king to attack you, the king doesn't want to hurt his knight. Because the knight and the king win together. Now, the knight has a special rule that if the king was to take lethal combat damage, somebody's attacking the king, he has no blockers, no cards in hand, no responses, and the king says, announcing death of the king or regicide or whatever. No, I can't do anything about this. Whoever's my knight, can they help me out? And in that case, the knight can reveal his card, I'm the knight, and block for the king. Now, we have the barbarian. Actually, barbarians. There's typically two. The barbarian's job is to kill the king. Plain, simple. Just kill the king. And let's see, the assassin. The assassin's job is to, hold on, I always mess up the assassin. The assassin's job is to kill everyone. He doesn't have to actually physically kill everyone, but to be the last one standing. Then we have the usurper. Now, the usurper wants to become the king. The usurper, when the usurper deals the final points of damage that kill the king, roles change. The usurper becomes the new king. The king becomes the new usurper. Their roles are public, and the former king, now usurper, goes to 10 life. Some variants it goes to 1, but we use 10. And then the knight has a new king to guard. So there are others. There's a bunch of other roles like the jester. The sole point of the jester is to be killed first. And there have been many, many times when you forget that the jester is a thing and that one player just does the super annoying thing. And you're like, just go, swing with all my stuff, die. And they go, okay, no blocks, lethal damage, reveal that they're the jester. And what I love about it, here's the problems that it solves. Number one, have you ever played a multiplayer commander game that a single player has set down with a ridiculously powerful deck, more overpowered than the rest of the table? Now, if everybody's playing powerhouses, it can be a really fun and interesting game. But if one player is, just on a different plane than everybody else, they just run away with the game. Well, in Kingdoms, it kind of solves that because the only person that knows who's who is everybody knows the king. The king, just by play styles, the king has ideas of who is who, but it's hard to tell a usurper from a barbarian. Or it's hard to tell, honestly, it's hard to tell a knight from an assassin sometimes, or a usurper, or it's a really, and it allows for two people to win the game. In bigger games, because I've had 9, 10, 12 player games to where you've got 3 barbarians and a couple of knights, and those are the big games. There's like the expanded rules on it. It's like 50 something slots, and I really want to print that off just to see what all those rules are, because I know there's crazy stuff on there, like a Dark Knight. It's not Batman though, so the Queen, the whatever. But anyway, just want to talk to you about Kingdoms today because we played last night, and it's a ton of fun. We do a lot we call Kingdom Chase. We'll use Plane Chase too. Plane Chase also helps if you're not playing Plane Chase Commander, then it's something you should give it a try. It's wonderful because there again, that overpowered deck kind of loses something. Now, invariably, what happens to us is that we will find a plane that everybody likes, and we'll just chill there. Yep. So, I don't know. Like we played last night, I can't name you all the commanders in the game, but I know I was playing Jorah, original Suspend Jorah. And let's see, what was Danny playing to the left? He was playing mono black of some sort. He had a Noxious Field on a swamp with Death Pits of Wrath. By the way, this is a one insane combo, and I love it. Noxious Fields is an enchant land you put on a swamp, and it says Enchanted Swamp has tap, deal 1 damage to each creature and each player. And then Death Pits of Wrath says whenever a creature takes damage, destroy it. It is beautiful. The first time Danny did this, it was amazing. Every time, it's amazing. And it creates a board state where you're tap of Swamp, Wrath, tap of Swamp, Wrath, every turn. So it's hard to keep a creature alive, so everybody's struggling to find another way to win. Well, at the time he had assembled this combo, I curved out beautifully. Well, I say that. It was kind of a slow start. Turn 1 land, turn 2 land, turn 3 land, Jorah, turn 4 wait for everything to go around. I suspended Omniscience and an Eldrazi, the not one of the name brand Eldrazi's, but one of the lesser ones. That's what I had in my hand. Jimmy lets us. He plays. What is that? It's a weird harvest that lets everybody search their deck for X number of creatures. Now, by the time he did this, two of us had Omnisciences out. Yeah, yeah. So, I go get Emrakul, Kozilek, and something else. Can't remember what it was. Was it Pathrazor? Don't remember. But anyway, we're talking about a sick game that has a ton of overpowered cards. So I drew naturally a couple turns later. Firemind's Insight, the 3/2/1. It's a whole bunch of mana. It doesn't matter because I had Omniscience. Allows you to get instants that cost one that costs 3, one that costs 2, one that costs 1. So, being the awesome guy I am, I got Capsize, Counterspell, Brainstorm. And it occurred to me that I had Omniscience and Capsize. I was the usurper. A lot of times I get playing these games and I forget my role and I'm like, and I'll like kick myself in the head. But I lost that game. I had an Omniscience Capsize combo and I lost that game because all I could do, we were all at 500 and something life because of, no, Danny wasn't playing black. That was the previous game. Danny was playing Fire and Sun, Sun and Fire, the twin Minotaurs, the life gaining things. That's right, because yeah, he played the Noxious Field thing earlier. It was a completely different deck. See, this is what happens when you get old. You start mixing games. But he cast like a chain reaction and gained like 500 life or something. And then Jimmy played a Grand Arbiter. We were all at 500 something life. So here I am swinging with 60, 70 damage a turn, not making a dent. But so I just bounced everything the king had. Put all your permanents back in your hand. I couldn't really do anything about it. And I forget now how I actually lost that game. I know there was a ever anyway. I should have been writing stuff down because even one of the guys at the table, Donnie, said, this would have been a game to record, Brian. But anyway, I thought I would cover Kingdoms. It does solve a lot of problems. It's a ton of fun. It is going to upset whoever is playing to like hardcore competitive, but that's not how we played. We're a bunch of friends sitting around a table, talking, joking, laughing, cutting up. We just happen to be playing Magic. Appreciate y'all watching. I got to get ready to go to work. Totally not magical, but I will see y'all tomorrow.